Hi everyone, it's Lehman with Lace Covered Skies. Today I have a video that also corresponds with my fabric tape video. I had a video a couple weeks ago, I think, where I made these fabric tapes and they were super fun to make and super easy and quick to use. Once you get to like the decorating stage of something, it's really fun to just have it ready and you can just be creative without having to worry about like gluing or sewing or any of those things. But I started to experiment with this idea and I started experimenting with napkins. And I really like the edge, how it's kind of a torn edge. I don't know if that's really that visible, but these are napkin washi tapes and I love the way they turned out. Of course, because I'm like super picky, I wasn't happy with how a lot of the napkins turned out, but the napkins that I really liked, I think they turned out really pretty, and I'm going to have a lot of fun using this in my botanical journals. I cannot wait for collaging and things like that. I think it'll add another element to it. I have this napkin, and what I'm using to secure these rolls are those clear hair ties. So this napkin I thought turned out good as well. And then this one, I ended up cutting this in half so it's thinner of a tape. But I think this will be so pretty. And then I tried some with this paper. I think I'm going to try with a lot of other papers as well, but this is a digital from TaylorMade Journals. I've been using this paper a lot. I will say that the paper that I printed it on is a little bit thicker, so it doesn't work as well as with napkins or with fabric. But I think it's absolutely beautiful. These colors, that just looks so vintage right there. But that's what I wanted to make today. So I pulled some napkins. I have this napkin right here and this napkin right here. We are going to make this one first. And I've never used this napkin. I like the colors and I'm excited to see how it turns out. I typically would just like to keep this as a page on its own. Like if I'm gonna Mod Podge it and do something, I'd rather keep this whole scene. So I think that's what we're gonna do, but only with one panel. So let me go ahead and tear this off. I'm sure you guys have seen this technique. We're separating the layers of paper, of napkin, and if the top layer is easy to separate, I'll usually just separate it by hand. But if it's getting a little bit finicky, I will use the tape method. And this tape method I learned from Crafty Irina. I watched so many of her videos back in 2018 when I was just devouring all kinds of videos, and I learned so much from her. But she's the type that likes to work in batches, in large batches. So I really liked her style of working, and she liked to make things efficient, which is another thing I love. So with this, what I do when I use napkins, I actually save the under pieces to actually use as napkins. Like while I'm crafting, if I have to like, you know, do like wipe something up or whatever. But you just put this down and you kind of rip it. Now, of course, I'm on camera, so I'm being a little more careful than usual, but it'll take a little piece off with it. And you can go ahead and just separate that piece from the rest of the napkin. And again, if I wasn't being so careful about preserving the napkin so I could use it later, this would go a lot quicker. But I do want it to stay in one piece. So I'm just going to go ahead and separate it. My Tuesday morning closed down. I think I had one pretty close and a couple more, but as far as I know, everything like that I'd be willing to drive to around me is gone. So that's been really sad. But I'm going to show you the other napkin once I get to the other one. I'll tell you where I got that one. That one is a really pretty one as well. But I think I'm going to go ahead and tear around one of these panels for use later on, because I don't want to make I don't want to use up this whole thing just because it's like a picture. I'll try it with one panel, but let me go ahead and get rid of this side. Alright, so I have my double stick tape. I am not going to go into detail of how. Let me see what's more, actually, okay, we'll go this way. I'm not going to go in detail in this video, but if you like to see like a little bit more of a detailed video, I'll try to remember to link the other one down below. And my technique has changed a little bit, so I'll talk a little bit about how it's changed. Now, I was doing little pieces of scraps before. Actually, you know what? This is pretty different from before, so I might consider this a tutorial video and kind of goes a little bit slower. But when I was doing these scraps, they were just little snippets. So I didn't get a lot of length out of them. But for these ones, because it's a whole napkin, I wanted to get more length. And what I do is I use this. This is the Bazic, B-A-Z-I-C brand of double-sided tape that I find at my dollar store. And this double-sided tape has one side that's still covered. So that's what you need for this project. As opposed to, where is it? As opposed to this kind of double stick tape where there's no white backing to it. I mean, you could totally use that one if you're going to use the tape right away, but I wanted to make it and store it. So let me sit down because this is a process. So I will lay down. I think it might be easier if I go this way. Yeah. I'm going to lay down the tape. Now, I do not go too close to the edge because I know that I cannot go in a straight line. and it's not gonna, it's gonna veer off, so I don't want it to veer off of the edge so that you're left with space on the tape that doesn't have napkin. So I just keep rolling the napkin, and as you can see, it's not parallel. Just nothing I do is parallel. Whether it be sewing, or probably the only thing I do that's parallel is driving. But in terms of crafts, I really can't cut that straight. Definitely cannot draw a straight line. All right, so I go into the end of the napkin, and then I roll it back up. I roll it back up, and the edging, like the solidness of the roll underneath, really helps with this part. Now, because this is napkin, it will tear very easily, which is good for us. So I just go ahead and I tear around the circle. I just keep on tearing. This is a really quick process when you're just sitting there watching a video or a show, because it's just so not messy. Then I turn it around and I tear off the other side, and keep in mind that this is great for collaging these little bits of napkin. So after I'm done with that, I will simply put this, add this onto this pile that I already started, and it'll be ready for collaging once I'm gonna embark on that project. Then I go back and I do the same thing. I lay the napkin back out, and I'm gonna start this where this ended. I'm going to continue on. So sometimes it's a little bit hard to see where it started, but just kind of do your best. And then again, it's just a matter of rolling it out. Now this is a 2-inch width, which a lot of you asked how the measurements of this tape. It's 1 inch actually. I'm sorry. It's 1 inch. And personally, I think it's a little bit thick for washi tape. And so I have been on the lookout, like at Hobby Lobby, for something that's a little bit thinner. I think a 1/2 inch maybe. Like 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch would be perfect for this. But this works too. I mean, I definitely am happy with the way this turns out with certain patterns. I think it looks really pretty with certain patterns. So you just keep on tearing, and I turn it back around and I tear the other side. All right. So I am just going to take a look at how this is looking. I think it looks pretty cool. It's going to be great for botanical journals. I think it's going to be so pretty. So I'm just going to continue and try to finish as much of this napkin as I can. So let's go ahead and lay this out, and I'm going to come as close to continuing as I can and just smooth this out. It's actually kind of therapeutic once you get going, especially because it's just so, everything kind of just flows together. All right, so I am going to line up the tape back on its roll and continue tearing. I'm really liking this yellow and blue color combination. I'm usually such a pastel, like pink and bright pastel colors, like greens and stuff, that this is a nice change. I feel like something just tore. Okay, so let's go ahead and take off this edge. And this tape, if you can find it, is extremely sticky. It's much stickier than regular tape, in my opinion. All right. And you can see a little bit of the torn edge. I think that makes it so pretty, and it almost makes it look expensive. All right, so let's go ahead and continue. Sorry, I just knocked the camera. And if I didn't mention it before, of course, when you're putting the tape down, you want it to be on the wrong side so that the right side can be out. Unless you want like a muted look, which that might be kind of cool to see if you did it on the other side. That might look good in collaging. All right. I'm going to kind of center this. Now, I will say that for whatever reason, I had a roll of this tape that I had been using. I kind of feel like I'm ironing because I'm like holding this like a handle. But I will say that this roll right here is brand new. And it just seems like it smells. It smells like plastic kind of. And I think what I will do next time is leave it to air out, because my other roll does not smell like this new roll. And I do have my window open right now. All right. So I would just keep on going with this until I want to stop. I don't know if I want to continue with this part of the napkin, even though I really like this side, but it's just so short. I think I'm gonna save this and see if I want to continue with it later on. But so I just quickly glanced over and saw this second layer from this, and you can kind of see something on there. I wonder if I could use this for something, like if it was laid down. I'll think about that. But I think I'm gonna end this strip right here. Or you know what? Maybe I will continue. I think I will continue on. So I am going to just do a few more. But let me think about, it was going this way, right? So I should try to continue in this direction, even though this edge is not straight. Okay, I think I went too close to the edge. I shouldn't have gone so close. But it's actually going straight. Now that's not the reason why I wouldn't go to the edge though, because I do want that ripped look, and this is too small for me to tear now. I'll probably just leave it at that extra part. Let me go ahead and actually cut this. All right, let's do this a few more times. Although it's getting pretty slim. So let me just go ahead and aim for this side right here. And I am going to try to make it work without veering off. Yeah, I think it'll work. It's thick enough. So yeah, I think it's veering off a little bit. So as I'm unrolling it on this side, I'm kind of trying to steer it. Okay. I'm gonna smooth that out, roll this back up, and let me go ahead and tear off as much as I can. All right, now let's investigate the front. I thought I veered off, but it's not too bad. And if that does happen, I'll just kind of patch it up with another piece. Just kind of press it in there, and that usually works. And then I'll go ahead and cut off the end. And because this smells, I'm not going to roll it up yet. I'm going to let it air out near a window somewhere. But normally I would just roll this up. And it works so perfectly with napkin because the napkin layer is so thin. I would just roll this up. It looks beautiful. I'm glad I chose this one. But roll it up, tie it with a hair tie, and it'll be ready when I need to use it. But I wanted to show you one that I started before, and it's from this napkin right here. This beautiful napkin. It's very similar to the Tuesday morning napkins, but this is my favorite napkin I've ever found so far. I bought 2 packets, and because I don't have a Tuesday morning near me anymore, I have started to look at Marshalls. TJ Maxx and Marshalls and Home Goods, I think they're all by the same owner. So I've kind of been trying to keep an eye out for napkins in those stores. But I think it's the same price as Tuesday morning. So just a little heads up about that. But I had started this one, and see how I had to patch up a little bit. But I think it's fine, especially because most likely I'm going to use this for collage. So this one turned out like that, and I think it's so pretty. I love it. I think I'm going to continue with this roll and make like the whole roll. But I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will list this under tutorial in my playlist under napkin washi tapes. I hope this was helpful to you, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a different idea on what you can use napkins for. I can't wait to use these. I think these would be so cool in botanical journals. But thank you so much for watching today. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below. Please consider subscribing to my channel for more videos, and I will talk to you next time. Bye everyone.